Hello everybody, my name's Ian and today you're watching the Helmsburg sawmill. I have a bunch of timber cutting footage that I'm going to compile together for you guys, and it's going to be starting with this nice big poplar right here. Make sure to like today's video and make sure to hit that subscribe button. And if you have any questions, make sure to leave them in the comments section.
I'll go ahead and correct myself since I don't know what I'm going to be making the videos into, but there was a red oak that makes its way into this video. The red oak after this one's pretty good sized, and after I cut the tree down, I take the time to explain to you guys what I did to the stump. I would encourage you guys to watch the entire assortment, because each one looks slightly different in its own way when it's going down. And closer towards the end of the video, I throw the GoPro on my chest. Now, I'm going to have to work on using that GoPro while I'm cutting timber, however, I feel like that this is a pretty good first try. I already know some of the things that I'm going to have to do differently for next time. I'll probably use the helmet mount next time instead of the chest mount. And the parts where you can't really see anything, I'm going to go ahead and edit out, so the GoPro footage will be a little bit broken up and a little bit sectioned out as far as the cuts go on the trees. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of the video. I'm also going to go ahead and show you guys me topping each tree. Once again, each tree that I top in this video has its slightly different element that you have to pay attention to.
All right. Here's my stump. Go ahead and clear it off here so you guys can see it. And explain to you guys what I did. So you guys saw I put my notch in, and as far as my notch goes, you guys see how small it is. That's how far into the tree I cut the notch. I'm not actually eating into any of the good wood that's going to be made into boards. A lot of guys make their notches far too deep. And then when a tree does decide to bust and roll, instead of breaking out of the sapwood, it actually busts into the tree, if that makes sense. So after I put my notch in, ow, damn, yellow jacket. I poked my saw in right here, shoved it in, and then worked it around. You guys saw, worked it around, then I poked it out right here, enough to where I could poke it back in through and start a new cut here and leave this trigger holding. And before I did that, I also poked out the center. That way if the tree did decide to roll like it did, it just breaks off the leg instead of tearing straight across. So I did that, poked my saw out right here, came around, poked it back in over here, worked it around, poked it out right here and left this trigger and this trigger. Then came around and poked it in the spot that was open right here and just made sure that all this was cut out. Sometimes it's kind of hard when you come around. It's not that my saw was dull, but you probably noticed it wasn't grabbing right away. That's just because this wasn't quite flush perfect with the other side. But anyways, after I got that leg made, which I could feel it pinching at this point, which means I knew there was a lot of weight sitting down, which that leg looks big, but I couldn't have made it any smaller without getting my saw pinched. But as far as that goes, the actual cut and the hinge itself is done. Then it's just up to coming back here and nipping off these triggers, just like that. Now I'm gonna go ahead and trim this guy off and top it.
The woods is where you trim butt logs off at. Not only are they a pain in the butt to deal with back at the mill, because you have to turn them on, you have to roll them on the debarker, and it makes it more difficult to get the hearts centered up on the saw carriage. And also, it makes handling the logs from the stump to the semi when they're getting loaded on easier to handle if you trim these big fins off. So that big knot right there actually kept the bust from going down further into the tree. And that's why just the other side of the knot is a good place to top it. When you try to top a bust like that, it's actually like trying to top two separate limbs at the same time that have two opposing energies built up. So that's why you go on the other side of the big knot. I'm sure some of you guys have cut or split firewood before, so you know what knots do. They keep the wood from busting. The disruption in grain keeps the bust from going down any further into the good part of the log.
There we go.
Make sure to pay attention to and appreciate the length of these poplars.
Oh yeah. That's how hard that one was leaning.
So when I talk about how hard it was leaning, I'm talking about the hinge wood that I saw after it went over. And it has a different look, but you can tell that the hinge wood, it has like an extremely compressed look to it. And I could tell by how hard the tree was starting to pinch my saw as I was starting to come around too. And this is why I talk about cutting with your tip in the previous bucking videos. Because the fact of the matter is, if you're going to be cutting timber, you better just get used to using your tip.
There it goes. Adios.
This was the one right next to it that I just cut.
That's a slick hill. See that? He's spinning out to chalk the, there we go. Spin out to chalk the tracks. It keeps you from sliding backwards, and you can do that with a skidder too. Because that is a steep hill. we go.
conclude today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and please tune back in again next time. Oh yeah, literally the four-wheeler died
about a half
very
mile
first
back into
thing
the
after
woods,
we
but-
drove it down to the very bottom of the job.
Quad runner
So we
died.
spent the rest of the day walking up and down this
About
hill,
90
taking
out.
on the trees that were on the bank instead of having the quad
It's
runner
warming
to
up too.
help
We're
us
just
carry the
taking a
stuff
lunch
around.
break.
So we were pretty tired by the end of this.